Aimee at EuroLuxHome.com. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. If you enjoy learning about European antiques, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and maybe even share it with a friend who might also enjoy learning about European antiques. So we're continuing on in our series on how to tell if a piece of furniture is truly an authentic antique, or to get an idea of how old or how to date it. And really, the honest answer is that it is a complete art and science to figuring that out, and it's really based on experience. So I thought, as a professional antique dealer for the past 20 years, I would give you some of the clues that I use in order to actually see age on a piece. But really, it's a combination of things. It's a combination of observation, research, knowledge about the historical styles of antiques, knowledge about construction techniques, as well as materials. And when you put all of the clues together, that's how you come up and determine the age. It's sort of like being a furniture detective, and maybe you even carry a little notebook and you make notes as you are gathering all of your clues. So, you might want to, however, I will suggest, check with an expert. Maybe seek a professional advice from a personal property appraiser just to check yourself. So, if you've missed our first two episodes, you'll want to go back because part one is identifying what you have and what style it is. That really is giving you a starting point to where to really define the age, or at least begin your research. The second thing you're going to do is look at the materials on the piece, identify all of the wood, and look at maybe the glass in the mirror or the marble to figure out if those elements tell you clues. So today we're going to go a little deeper into materials, and we're specifically looking at patina and signs of wear. So what is patina? It's something that we really identify with an antique, and patina actually means that it's a change in the surface appearance of something due to age, wear, exposure, and environmental factors. So basically, looking at the materials and seeing if we can see how they've aged, how they've changed over time, because we would expect to see a certain variability based on the age. Patina lends authenticity to the piece, and of course it's part of its character, because even as humans, we all get wrinkles as we age, and so we're looking for those character marks or wrinkles on the antiques that help us date it. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the metals on the piece. Where are the metals? Most of the time, they're the drawer pulls or the knobs, the handles, and maybe even the hinges. I don't have big hinges on this one, but other pieces of furniture have big barrel hinges maybe, or smaller hinges. So you want to look at the metal. Can you determine if it's hand forged or if it's been pressed? That's a real indication of age. You want to look at the design of the metal. So let's grab this drawer and I'll come and show it to you up close. So first of all, I'm looking at the style of this. You can see it's a little man. He's sort of a little Renaissance man. And this is a Renaissance buffet. So the style of the hardware does fit. And this one has been handmade. It's all hand sculpted, a really beautiful old piece. And then, if I could determine the age, there's a little tiny bit of kind of a goldish or brass color peeking through. So I do believe that it probably is brass. But it's very dark. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to do is, one, maybe identify what the metal is, and then I want to think about what sort of color change has happened to the metal. So you may be familiar with copper or bronze. They turn kind of a greenish blue with oxidation over time. Think about a great big copper dome, and over time it looks kind of bluey green. Brass darkens, turns kind of a deep brown, but what you can see is there's actually sort of layers of color, and that that depth of color is what I'm looking for as an antique dealer to see if I really think this hardware looks like it has aged. And then I'm going to actually feel it. And right here, there is actually a smoothness to the forehead. And that's because over time, people have gone and pulled this open and their fingers have rubbed against it, and the oil on their hand has created a smoothness. So I actually do feel a smoothness to the metal. I'm noticing that. Now keep in mind that you can use chemicals to age something and darken something, and that would be a way to fake drawer pulls and make them look old. But it really is, because you don't see that depth of color, it is easy to spot something that's not authentic, in my opinion. All right, so we've looked at the wood and, we've looked at the metal, and there we go. I don't know why I couldn't get that in. Okay, so we've looked at the metal and looked for signs of color change, for the texture. Now we're going to look at the wood itself. I'm looking for a color change. So again, I want to see, I know that this is walnut, but can I see that it has faded or discolored over time? So you'll want to look inside. So I'm going to look inside. And here you can see this is a solid walnut door, but you can see the inside looks very different than the outside. And it's this difference that I'm looking for. So you might look inside the doors, inside the drawers. If you have a table, you're going to open the table leaves. Often table leaves have a marked difference between the leaf that's been hidden from the sunlight and the table surface that has been exposed to sunlight. Now, this piece has an absolutely phenomenal warm glow on the exterior. And we find this warm, beautiful patina, especially on walnut. Walnut is just a gorgeous wood as it ages. And we see this difference because the exterior has had years and years of layers of wax and oils as people have cared for it over time, and it has created a depth of color that you don't see in this is what it looked like originally, the inside, how the walnut looked when it was first made. And so it's this depth of color that I think you can see it on the camera, but for sure in person, it's not just a surface one color brown. There's lots of colors. There's dark brown, there's black, there's lighter honey brown, so lots of different variation, and that's what creates that depth or patina. Now, I'm also going to feel for the surface, because as things age, maybe you'll feel it's a bit rough or uneven, or on some areas, or other areas, especially like the front edge of things, front edge of a buffet, or maybe the arms of a chair are going to feel smoother in some areas from, again, the rubbing and the oils from people's hands over time. Now, I'll also check, another place to check drawer is, you see this is pulling in and out, right? Over 100 years. So the bottom here is very smooth. I can feel a much smoother surface than, for instance, here on the side. So I'm feeling for age. And when I look back here, I can see all of these marks here where it's been pulled in and out, in and out, in and out. And I would expect to see that. Got it in a little quicker that time. And then I would want to do the same thing with doors. So where a door opens and closes, I can see actually some marks where it's been scuffed. And here I can also see the outside color and the inside color. So again, I'm looking for a change over time that helps me determine that something is actually old. All right, so another thing that I'll want to do is just inspect the whole piece. Look over the whole top, and we'll put some photos for you so you can see a little closer. But what I'm looking for is signs of wear that is due to age. And so I'm going to expect to see scratches and scuffs, little surface marks. I'm going to see dark spots here and there where somebody set a glass or somebody set something and it made a mark. But what I'm really looking for is that it's not uniform. It's a bit random, because what we can consistently say is we're looking for inconsistencies. When something has a very consistent wear pattern across the entire top, it's very likely that somebody took a chain and beat it, trying to make it look antique, or they distressed it. And new furniture is often distressed to make it look like antiques because antiques are so popular. And so I want to look and see, is it sort of random? Do I see a lot of wear marks that it makes sense that it looks old? Now, another thing to look for are woodworm holes, because sometimes woodworm, especially on antiques, will get in there and make little holes as it drills in. Now, new furniture, a lot of times they'll take nails and actually poke holes all over the piece to make it look like an antique. And we always say our woodworm holes are authentic. But don't worry, we always make sure that our containers are fumigated so we have no active woodworm on any of our pieces. But woodworm holes are another indication. If something's not distressed, it's another clue to look at for maybe something is actually old or authentic. It's this depth and variation. You want to just stand back from the piece and you're putting all of these clues together and you're using your intuition and looking at the overall look and feel of the whole piece, and then you're going to continue doing your research. Again, it really comes down to experience of handling a lot of different items that you know are truly antiques. Again, I encourage you to go to antique stores, go to antique markets, read lots of books, go to antique websites, do lots of study, and then ask a lot of questions. That's the best way to learn. So I hope that you have found this interesting. We're continuing our examination of all of the clues of putting them together in order to figure out if your piece is truly an antique or about how old it might be. So be sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and maybe even share it with a friend. But make sure to come back next week as we keep exploring more clues on how to determine if your piece is truly an antique. See you next time.